Welcome back, everybody, to the Nosebleeds podcast. I'm Chris Witt, and with me, as always, is Mr. Adam Schmidt. Adam, how are you today, sir?
Doing very well. How about yourself?
We're on Zoom, and we missed last week. Um, so that's two strikes. But I'm going to say, outside of those two things, I'm feeling great today, bub. Feeling great.
Good. Good. Yesterday was Valentine's Day. This is our special Valentine's episode.
Yes, yes. Hey,
Um,
happy Valentine's Day. Will you be my Valentine?
Absolutely. I
Ah,
was planning on it the whole time. Yeah.
yes. I
Um,
can't wait to see you. I've got a Cupid arrow for you.
oh, nice, nice, nice. Yes. Happy Greg the Hammer Valentine's Day.
Yes, yes.
We've had so much. Missing 1 week on this podcast, it feels like an eternity.
It
It feels like
does.
we missed months.
We had so many things we've been wanting to talk about, and it's like, well, do we even talk about them anymore? Because so many things have happened since.
We've had to cut things because on the plan because there's too much. There's too much to talk about.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna spring this on you. We've
Yeah.
talked about everything that we were gonna go over on the podcast today. We've got our comedy special. We've got the Mount Rushmore of pitchers from the 1990 wire to wire Cincinnati Reds. We have we're going to talk a little bit about the Super Bowl and the aftermath of the parade the other day. But back to the Reds, it's pitchers and catchers reported yesterday. One of the greatest pitchers in Reds history passed away,
Hmm.
Mr. Don Gullett.
Yeah. Oh, it's the dearly departed segment.
Return of dearly departed. I didn't tell you about this, but I just want you to know I am in West Virginia today. That's why we're doing this over Zoom.
Yep.
On my way home, I will be coming through Ashland, Kentucky, up North 23 into Greenup, Kentucky. Okay, Greenup County. In Greenup County, Kentucky, is where Don Gullett is from, and there is a monument that says this is Don Gullett country, and I'm going to find it tomorrow, take a picture, and I'm going to send it out. Did you know that in high school, Don Gullett was recruited by Division I colleges in baseball, basketball, and football?
Is that so?
He ran in 11 touchdowns in one game and kicked the extra point in six of them. He scored 72 points in one game.
He ran for 11 touchdowns in a game.
11 touchdowns in one game at McNell High School I gotta look it back up now. I think it's Greenup, Kentucky.
Even stranger than rushing for 11 touchdowns is only kicking the extra point on six of them.
I mean, they went for two on a few of them. Who knows?
Okay.
Maybe they brought somebody. Maybe once they went up by six touchdowns, they were like, "You can keep running it in, but we want our backup soccer player to kick a few of these."
I guess. That's an odd combination. Yeah, like him staying in the game. Was their defense like miserable? Were they up 3 points at the end of his 10th touchdown or something?
I have no idea.
They had to go for two.
McKell High School in South Shore, Kentucky, which
Huh.
is in Greenup County. Uh, 11 touchdowns, kicked the extra point in six of them. He also scored 47 points one game in a high school basketball game, and seven inning baseball game, perfect game. 20 of 21 outs were strikeouts.
Oh my goodness.
Is that unbelievable? Unbelievable. He played in Major League Baseball for 9 seasons. He was drafted in 69. He played for the Reds in the World Series in 70. He played in the World Series. When was the next year? 72? Was it
72.
72 they were in the World Series against the
Against
A's?
the A's, yeah. Yeah.
Yep. So he played in those World Series. He won the World Series in 75 and 76, and then it swept the Yankees in 76, turned around, was a free agent, got picked up by the Yankees, and won it in 77 and 78, won four straight World Series, played 9 years, played in six World Series in 9 years.
Wow.
Is that this and not only that, but apparently listening to some of these things, like you remember Elmer,
Bud
no, Elmer Diaz, Elmer,
is glue.
anyway, Ron Valone and different guys like that from the Reds and Pete Harnisch got the Reds. Jim Bowden came out and said when Don Gullett was their pitching coach, they were purposely paying money, less money to get washed up old guys that had been good somewhere else to bring them to Don Gullett, and Don Gullett would just work his magic on them.
Wow.
That was part of how they saved money on the pitching side, so they could afford guys like Larkin and Dunn and Griffey and all these other people.
Interesting. And
Yeah,
that's why they that's why they won games 8-7 whenever they did win those years.
sure. The point is
I'm just kidding.
Don Gullett is was an was amazing. 9 years, 6 World Series appearances, 4 World Series titles.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I knew he
Um,
pitched for the Yankees after the Reds, but I didn't realize it was they won the
s-
World Series the next 2 years.
back. He won the World Series in
Dang.
4 straight seasons, 75, 76, 77, 78.
Wow. Very impressive. Good
Division One offers in basketball, baseball, and football.
I feel like that was a little bit more that happened more often than not all three sports normally, but
I
back
mean,
in
you're
the
not. Yeah. I feel like there were a
seventies.
lot more 3 sport athletes back then. Now
Yeah.
you get a lot of 2 sport athletes or really just 1 sport athletes. But to get D1 offers from three different sports, not only that, he turned all of them down and was drafted out of high school in 1969.
Nice. Nice. Wow. I mean, that's 47 in a game. Was it 47 or 48 in a
47, something
game?
like that. I heard that, yeah, in a game in basketball in high school and
A 20 strikeout,
70
7 inning, perfect game.
20 strikeouts in a perfect game, 20 strikeouts.
That's crazy.
Yeah, is
Dang.
unbelievable. He pitched in one of his World Series games wins. He pitched 8 2/3 innings, which is weird to me. Why would you take him out of that game? I don't understand it, but whatever. 8 2/3. The guy was, I mean, this dude is Don Gullett is a Cincinnati Reds legend. Everyone in Cincinnati knows him, whether he was playing when you were alive or coaching, and dearly departed, rest in peace, all that good stuff. Don Gullett. Yeah, and also back in the 90s, he had triple bypass surgery after a giant heart attack that he had and lived for another 30 some years.
Wow.
Yeah,
Man, what a guy.
there
What
you go.
a life.
There you go. I wanted
Crazy.
to bring that up to start this podcast up.
All right.
Good old
Rest in
Don
peace,
Gullett.
Don Gullett.
Donnie G. Donnie G.
Very nice. Okay. Well, that'll we will that will foreshadow our Mount Rushmore for later. You already mentioned it, but that'll be a good thing to go back to and then transition. Um, we mentioned Valentine's Day. Did you do anything for Valentine's Day? Did you anything? Did you I don't know, did you get your kid do you guys get your kids stuff for Valentine's Day?
My wife does. Yeah, she got them a bunch of little stuff for Valentine's Day. Yeah, they have their school Valentine's Day party tomorrow. Found out that the boys got three girls competing to be a Valentine. Yeah,
Hey now.
fifth grade, but not like his dad. Does not like girls.
Yet.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. He also, I've asked him and he said he doesn't like boys either. He said that's weird. So I think he's going to like girls. But just, at that phase of his life as a kid where, ooh, girls have cooties.
Sure, sure. You
Yeah.
know what? Keep that innocence as long as you can, buddy. It gets complicated after that.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. I agree. I think I had my first girlfriend at the end of fifth grade year. So
Okay.
he's gonna, it's coming for him. It's coming.
Very nice. Well, I mean, three in the stable is very impressive. That's
Three. Yeah, three
that's
of them.
real impressive.
Yeah, he
Um,
got. I found out from another little boy on the basketball team. He let me know. He let me
okay.
know. He said, I said, how do you know? He said, he says, well, I'm really trustworthy and people trust me with things and because I don't usually tell. And I said, pretty sure you just told me and Parker. He was, I told Parker a couple weeks ago.
You got an insider. That's good.
But he's an insider, but
You got sources.
he's also a good faker. He's not as secretive as he puts out.
Yeah, he's a little confused about what that means, I guess.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
all right.
you know what I remember? It just came to me when you mentioned the school Valentine's Day parties. It was such a big deal to me to take Michael Jordan Valentine's cards. I
Yeah,
don't know if you remember those, but man, you
yeah,
could get a box of Michael Jordan Valentine's Day cards, and that like because most people brought Valentine's little cards to pass out. Happy
everybody.
Valentine's Day. They would
Yeah,
say the little messages, different
yep,
messages on them. I remember the Michael Jordan ones. I remember being excited to pass those out and get them from like three of my friends too. We all
exactly.
gave each
Yeah,
other
yeah,
the same
yeah. He
ones.
gave the same ones. Here's my question for you. Did you, when you were, did you fill them out, right? Like you get a list of everybody's name, you write everybody's name on it, so you hand out individual Valentines?
I don't
I,
really
I,
remember. Probably.
I remember doing that. And the girls did it this year. My daughters did it this year. And I remember as a kid, like separating them. Like, I don't want this girl to think that what's on this
Yes.
card means anything crazy. So I'm gonna get the most generic one for the girls,
Yeah.
right? And then the rest of them just have a piece of candy attached. So whatever. The boys don't care.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's you're right. I think that's like the your least favorite Michael Jordan card would go to the
Yes.
your least favorite person in the class.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Yeah.
And my son every year has some kind of sports card, Valentine's card. Like he's got this year it's baseball, basketball, football, soccer. So
Sure.
you can they're all those.
That makes it a lot easier to give them to your buddies too.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, Valentine's Day is it's
Did you
I
give
don't
anything to anybody special? The little did you send anything to Teddy or anything like
the
that?
dog.
Yeah.
You know what? I didn't. I
No,
did.
that's
Yeah,
okay.
no gifts. It was a regular day.
Probably a good idea. Might have got taken the wrong way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't want Teddy's a boy dog, so I didn't want him to think anything. Um went to yeah, I went to the gym, I did yoga. I mean, it was a very regular, nothing, you know,
Were there
same old.
any single ladies in the yoga class that you went in there and it was like, okay, if we're all in here, then obviously we got nothing to do for Valentine's Day.
No, first of all, the gym was the emptiest it's been in months, in 3 months. And there were probably maybe two women there that could be anywhere close to my age. I didn't really pay close attention, but
The rest of them were what, 80? Because
yeah,
you go to an old person gym.
between
It's called the Blue Hair Gym. Isn't it at a
yeah.
retirement center?
What's that?
Isn't it at a retirement center?
No, but it's attached to a hospital in case, there's there there has been there has been a medical emergency from a woman who was, probably over 5 bills working out there one time, and they had to get.
Careful now. Careful now. Careful now.
I
You
look.
ain't far off.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm getting there. Look, I'm getting there. I had canes for dinner, okay? Um, yeah, regular day. Anyway, Valentine's Day wasn't it? As a matter of fact, I pulled into the parking lot and I'm like, where is everybody? The parking lot's been packed. The gym, since like the first of the year, everybody starts going again. And so it's
Yep.
always busy there. I'm like, oh man. So I pull in and there's hardly anybody there. And I walk in and the front lobby is super decorated for Valentine's Day. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I was talking to the ladies at the desk. I was like, yeah, I was wondering why nobody was here when I pulled in the parking lot. I forgot it was Valentine's Day.
It's everybody's cheat day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So anyway, nothing big for me on Valentine's Day.
Did you get a
Um,
haircut on Valentine's Day?
I got a haircut today after work.
I think I knew it looked fresh and clean. And you're right. It had to be today because by tomorrow you'll look like a werewolf again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That beard. So here's the deal. I shaved 2.5 weeks ago, and I'm just here. Adam shaved earlier today. So if you're watching on YouTube, he was cleanly shaven when he went to work.
Yeah, yeah. I usually have to shave about 3 times a day if I want to keep it smooth.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, let's get back on track here.
Yes.
Super Bowl. So the Kansas City Chiefs win the Super Bowl. What did you do for the Super Bowl? Obviously, nothing outside of your home because you were COVID bound.
I was COVID bound. I had COVID last week. Um, so no, they say 5-day quarantine now, right? 5 days,
I don't know. Is that what it is?
5 days. And I'm like, the doctor at the not the clinic, but the urgent care.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, she's
So
like,
definitely not a doctor.
well, yeah, whatever she was. Yeah. I don't, somebody that went to a medical class. I don't know. She's like, yeah, she's like, just, 5-day quarantine. Here's your note for work. You can go back on Sunday. And I'm like, okay, this was Tuesday last week. I'm like, gosh, that seems so quick because I had just started feeling it the night before. So I'm like, I'm freshly sick. And I'm like, I mean, it usually takes me 2 weeks to get over a regular cold. Like anytime I get sick, it feels like it takes me forever to get over the thing. But COVID is like 5 days, I'm good. And she's like, yep. Like, okay, you know me. I'm gonna take a couple extra days just to be sure. But it turned out to be a cold. I mean, I got
Yeah,
very, very lucky. It was not
yeah.
that bad.
Good,
It
good.
wasn't fun at all, but it was a cold. I mean, my nose ran like crazy for a few days and then, it cleared up. So
Well,
very lucky. Very thankful for that.
we were going to do the podcast anyway last week, but then I started feeling bad. Mister Dads don't get sick over here.
Dads don't get
I
sick.
was it was rough. Dads don't get sick. Dads don't get sick. I told my wife, I was like, Adam's got COVID. Normally I would just go ahead and do it, but you know what? I said we just knock this thing out this week and take one. And I looked at her and I said, because her and her sister always talk about man colds. Oh, the man cold. The man dads don't get sick. So I don't get no man cold. So I never complained. I did the laundry. I did all my stuff. Did everything I always do. I just didn't do the podcast and went to bed early. I went to bed at
Good.
like 8:30.
That's the most important thing when you're sick, man. Rest. Got to get the
Yeah.
rest. Um, yes. So anyway, so it didn't go too bad. I got a couple quick things. No, Super Bowl. I was eligible to, I guess, leave the house on Sunday, but that was the first day I was eligible. I'm
And
like,
there's
dude,
no way you're going anywhere.
I'm like 6 days into this thing. Plus, it's pleasant to. I always enjoy going to your house for the game, but other than that, like, I'm not really trying to go to any big Super Bowl parties or anything like. I would. I like just watching the game by myself anyway. Um. So anyway, that's what I did. I watched the game by myself. We'll get back to the COVID stuff because we started with the Super Bowl. That's what I did. What did you do for the Super Bowl?
Same thing as every single year for as long as I can remember. Paul Witt, Super Bowl party
Mhm.
2024 went down. Probably the fewest people we've ever had. Probably the fewest. We had the lifers that were there. 6 or 7 of them. Had a pleasant surprise from cousin Danny. Cousin Danny
Hey,
showed up with Prince
beautiful.
Philip. Prince Philip was
Yeah.
in, got a little Prince Philip in there, and Marika. And cousin Danny, me and him had fun. So I had just started DraftKings with you from your, so I had a bunch of free bets from DraftKings. I won some money on a couple of the $25 bets. So me and Danny were going all about the live betting. We were betting on what the Chiefs were going to do on the next drive and all this other stuff, and lost a bunch of $5 bets. But halftime show, cousin Danny, these are the things that make me happy. For my whole life, I've been saying the same thing. I always tell people when it comes to dancing, right? I tell people like I used to love dancing when I was younger and much slender. Usher's got the halftime, right?
Mhm.
Danny looks at me and he goes, "Do you remember you used to tell people all the time that you taught Usher how to dance?" And I was like, yeah, I still tell people that. The fact that he remembered that as a child made my day. Made my
I
day.
don't even remember
I used to tell people all the time, I taught Usher how to dance.
that.
Best part of the halftime show. Right now, you tell me what was the best part of the halftime show? You already
For
lose. You already lose. You already lose. It was the instant
I
that
know
Ludacris came
Ludacris
out.
came out. Of
The
course.
instant. It
That's
took
what
you
I was
way
gonna
too long.
say. You're right, my bad. Especially knowing your fandom, your Ludacris fandom. Mine too, but you're definitely number one fan.
So, been watching a bunch of videos of the halftime show, and it's a bunch of people like, look at my aunties. When all of a sudden you can see the difference when Usher's on and Luda's on, and like they're like jamming with Usher, and then Luda comes on, and they all jump up and go crazy. That was 100% me. I kept saying, Luda's gonna be on, Luda's coming out, Luda's coming out. And when he came out, I jumped off the couch and went crazy.
Yeah. You had, let's see, who made cameo? Luda did. Jermaine Dupri was out there.
Yep. Lil
Um,
Jon.
Lil Jon, right?
Lil Jon was out there.
I think
Alicia
I heard
Keys killed it.
Alicia Keys. That was big for me, buddy. I was a big Alicia. I was a fan of her music and had a huge crush on her.
Oh my
Uh,
God, yes.
yeah, that was
So
big for me.
Alicia Keys is married.
Yeah.
If you're Alicia Keys' husband and you're watching that halftime show, or you're like, all right, Usher, let's get the herpes a little bit further away from my wife, will you? Let's just scoot a
He
little
had
further.
the hands on the hips.
Oh,
Yeah.
more than hips, bud. That was lower pelvis, upper pelvis, upper pelvis. Even
Yeah,
gave a
no,
little gave a little tap on her ass at one point.
she looked yeah, she looked fantastic though.
Mhm.
Um, she's probably our age too. I maybe even yeah,
I would
she's in
say
her
she might be a hair older than us, like mid
maybe
40s. Yeah, I
maybe
bet she's about 45.
45.
Usher's like 50.
Is he really? Oh yeah, because his son plays for the Memphis Grizzlies. I forgot. Um,
What?
yeah, yeah. Usher is T Morant, John Morant's dad. Remember? You've seen that, right?
Totally forgot
Look,
about
dead
the
on.
about T Morant. Yes, about
Yeah, yeah.
Jaws dad. Jaws dad looking dead
Yeah.
on.
So
Dead
that's
on
right.
Usher.
He's got to be old enough. He's got a son in the NBA. Yeah, I never really care about the halftime show. That was about as much as I cared about any halftime show, probably.
I love the halftime
Still
show,
didn't.
and I loved Usher. I thought it was great.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't too bad. It wasn't, the aerial stuff when people are flying over the crowd and like repelling from the ceiling and stuff. I'm like, that's too much for me.
Well,
I don't,
he didn't do any of that. I mean,
I
he was
know.
on the actual field. Did you
Yeah.
see the stripper that was on the stripper pole that fell?
No, I didn't. I
Oh,
saw somebody on Twitter or something say, "Oh no, it was an old neighbor." It's anyway. Said something like, "Oh, real nice. Had uh strippers on dancing poles or something." That says family or something like. I was like, I didn't even see that. I had no
yeah.
idea
I
what he was
didn't I
talking
didn't
about.
notice it until I saw the video, but for sure, like she's up at the very top of the pole and she just falls and they clip off and jump off and go to a different camera.
Huh, I didn't even see that. Um, anyway, yeah. So okay, halftime show was good. Uh, it seemed like most people were kind of rooting against the Chiefs, but kind of doesn't matter because they won. Uh, ended up being a good game too. I mean, it was a good game. They they
Yeah,
scored with they scored in the last what 2 minutes or something like that.
yeah.
So
The defensive coordinator for the 49ers was fired
oh
yesterday.
no, it went into overtime. What am I
It
talking
went
about?
into overtime. Yeah. But they scored to so anyway, the defensive coordinator for the 49ers was fired the other day after holding Patrick Mahomes to one touchdown in the Super Bowl in regulation.
That's crazy.
Tell me that wasn't planned already. He was getting
Yeah,
fired no matter what.
yeah, but I mean, why? I mean that. you would think there's something else, right? It's not just his defense's performance, it's something else.
It's got to be something else. Has to be.
So anyway, Chiefs won. Congratulations to them and to, pop stars all over the planet and whoever else. Um, and then they had the
Love,
parade.
love. I love love.
You love love. You do. Which is why Valentine's Day is so big.
Hmm.
Um, the parade. They had a parade. What was was it yesterday? It was yesterday, right?
Yesterday.
Which
Yep.
is which was Wednesday. So they had a parade 3 days after their win. That
Yeah.
feels like such a massive thing for a city to plan in 3 days.
But it's always like that. I don't know how they do it because I know thinking about this every year and going, geez, oh Pete, look at that banner. That thing's huge. Look at this banner. Look at this. They had all of this made in the last 2 days. Like these people they've already got things like on order, and it's like, okay, you're printing the second this thing's over.
Also, this is their third Super Bowl in 5 years, so
Yeah, and
maybe they had
back
some
to back.
leftovers.
Yeah, yeah, back to back. They knew what they were doing. This
They
this this ain't their first rodeo.
went to the storage shed and got the old stuff out.
Yeah, so after all the shenanigans, and by the way, we've talked about this a few times now, the just absolute drunkenness on the stage is annoying. It's starting to get annoying to me.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it always
I'm
has been to me.
I love when people are hooting and hollering and have some beverages, but you're like they go up on those stages and they're cussing like crazy and and they can't talk.
Travis Kelsey.
Travis Kelsey was trying to sing a Garth Brooks song and was reading it off his phone and couldn't even say the words. And
And then I think he was trying to do the chop from the that the Braves fans used to do, and then there
the
was like a
Chiefs fans,
band.
the
Oh,
Chiefs fans
Chiefs.
still do that. Yeah,
I didn't even
yeah.
put that together. I'm so dumb. I'm so dumb. There was a band. He started doing that, and there was a band there, and they started playing along. He's like, "Oh, whoa, whoa, cut that, cut that, cut that," because you're not really supposed to do that anymore. But
Oh
anyway,
well, yeah. I thought they still did that at Chiefs games, so I don't
yeah,
know.
maybe they do.
Anyway, um, so obviously everyone gets off the stage and shots come flying in. 22 people were shot. One at this point in time passed away. I heard as many as six in the ICU. I don't know, I'm not here to give you all the numbers on that. My question for you, Adam, is this is something, I mean, you're talking about multiple hundreds of thousands of fans crammed into small area.
Mhm.
800 police officers, I think is what is what they had there, which is a lot of police officers, but for 400,000 fans, something like this over, and it's a dispute. Two of the three that are in custody are minors. Um, I think six or more. The person that's dead is a minor, and there's like it's so it
Oh,
was young people. Maybe I could be wrong about that, but it's young people dispute, right? So whether it's gang violence, I don't nobody that hasn't come out unknown. The point is mass shootings in this country. Is this going to change how these victory parades commence from here on out in sports in general?
that was one of the first thoughts I had when I saw that. It wouldn't surprise me. It seems like it would be smarter, safer for everybody to find another way to do that. Um, I,
Buy a ticket and have the parade and have a big pep rally inside the stadium.
yeah, something like that. Yep. That makes way more sense. There are too many people. There are too many people. I mean, I don't know. From my perspective, like I would say like the biggest team that could win that I would even think about doing something like that would be the Reds. If they won the World Series, I don't think I would go to the parade. I mean, at this point, I mean,
Just because of yesterday, or
no,
would if it was 2 weeks ago, you would say no.
yeah, because there's just too many people. There are way too many people. And it's just not
I'm
to
going.
do
It's a
what?
once
To
in a
see
lifetime.
them.
It's a once in a lifetime thing. I'm going. I'm taking my kids. Like that was my thought forever. To be able to take your kids to something like that would be amazing. Now, I don't know how I feel.
My, I don't know if you can hear this, but my printer I haven't used it in years, and it just kicked on and it's making all these noises. It's right next to me.
Every once in a while, your printer kicks on and it makes sure and it just runs back and forth to make it. It's checking how much ink you got.
Yeah. It's doing
Yeah.
that right now for our
Is
podcast, which
this
is great.
is this nobody can hear it, I
Can't
promise
hear
you.
it? Okay. Good.
Nope,
Okay.
not even a little bit.
Then edit that out. Um
Okay, I'll do that for you.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I kind of it really just does make more sense to do something like you said, a pep rally, something that you can, yeah, if you make people pay, there's much less chance that something like that's going to happen because not anybody can just go. Um, that's the other thing too. Like, there's so much. I'm guessing there's alcohol allowed outside during that thing. I mean, the players are all getting hammered on the on the
Yeah,
floats and
and
everything.
you see people throwing beers up to them. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, yeah. They're sitting there with coolers and yeah.
So I don't know. It just, yeah, that many people uh getting all excited and having alcohol, like unlimited alcohol involved. It's almost you're almost definitely going to have a problem. Now, is it going to be a
Yeah, but
shooting where 22 people? Probably not. But
yeah, I was just gonna say, when it comes to the alcohol side of things, I don't think this had anything to do with alcohol. I think this had to do with a disagreement, is what
Mhm.
the police are saying right now.
Yeah,
But it's young people and gunplay.
yeah, yep. Um, so I don't know. I would like to see some kind of change. I just don't know. That's the best I can think of. What you suggested. I don't know. What do you got? I mean, do you think it's necessary to make a
You know,
change
this
because of that?
this is one of those things where you have three of these every year,
Hmm.
right? And in some places four, if you include like hockey and stuff like that. That's huge.
Yeah.
And this is the first time you hear something like this happened. So yeah, I the recency bias that you get in sports these days, especially in the NFL, is a perfect example. Like you can have a team win 8 straight games and then get beat by 15, and everybody's like, "Oh, they're not as good as we thought they were," and get dropped down in power rankings and everything else. Recency bias is really tough in this situation, and I hope that the leagues take it into consideration. And I hope that the leagues sit down and have a lot of thought put into it, communicate with their teams, and really decide if it's something on a city by city basis or something of that nature to figure out what the best thing to do is. I'm not gonna sit here the day after it happened and say never do it again.
Mm.
I'm not gonna do that because I think we do that too much in the sports culture that we have in this country. And I don't want to do that. So I think there's something better out there. I think there's a better way to do it. I don't know what it is, but I just hope that it's not a knee-jerk decision and that we all and that the leagues get together, have a conversation and figure out what to do from here.
Yeah.
I know that that's a terrible take. Like in hot take world, there's zero hot take about that. That's just, I hope that people keep their heads on straight and figure out the best thing to do because it is so good. You see video of the players yesterday just walking into the crowd signing autographs. Nobody jumped barricades. Nobody was bum rushing stages. Players were going out signing autographs, doing, like having fun with the crowd. That is what these things are all about. That's what this stuff is all about. It's to give this crowd an opportunity to see these guys. And then somebody does something stupid at the very end that could ruin it for everybody.
I was thinking the other day, yesterday, I guess, about the video I saw recently of the press conference right after the Denver Nuggets won their championship last year. And a reporter asked Nikola Jokic, hey, in 3 days, you're going to have a parade. What do you think about that? And it hits him in the moment. He's like, oh, and he looks over at the press person for the Nuggets,
Yeah.
and he's like, when's the parade? And she says like Thursday or something. He's like,
Because
I
he
just
just
want to
wants
go
to go
home.
home. He just
Yeah,
wants to go
he
home.
did not want to do the parade.
Now, that's a little different story, right? The NBA and Major League Baseball are worldwide sports. They are worldwide, and there are people from all over the world in those. NFL is a little different, right? The NFL, some crazy Americans. They just want to party and have their NFL fun. So it's
Yeah,
a little different with that, but I agree with you. You're right. I mean, there some of these guys probably don't want anything to do with it.
yeah. Yeah, it would be nice to be able to figure something else out that could, everybody could celebrate, but in a safer manner, right? And I don't, to me, it's not recency bias at all. You think about that many people celebrating, feeling crazy. I mean, there are some great moments, especially like kids looking up at Patrick Mahomes and he looks right back at him and waves to him or whatever. That's
Sure.
really cool. Guys, if they're going over signing autographs, taking pictures or whatever, that's all very nice stuff. But it's if it doesn't happen, that doesn't mean it's safer. You know what I mean? Like that many people, and especially and to me, and I know I'm different than most on this, but you incorporate alcohol, especially lots of it, in anything with lots of people, there are always going to be problems. Maybe we haven't heard about shootings of this capacity, but I guarantee at every single one of these things where there are 400,000 people at these parades, there are problems plenty of spaces in there. Guarantee.
That yes. Yes, but you can't keep people from congregating for events. That's just not going to happen. It and I don't mean and maybe that's not how I should say that. Because you can keep people from congregating for these events by saying we're not doing them anymore. You can. But you're right. You're right. You're exactly right. I guarantee there's a fight somewhere. There's something going on because there's always going to be in that city some fan that's or somebody that's not a fan of the Chiefs that's there with their family or somebody else, and they're going to wear something for their team, and somebody's going to say something to them, and then people provoke easy and want to be provoked.
It doesn't even have to, it can be Chiefs fans, all of them, and somebody bumps into somebody's a little too drunk and just starts running their mouth. I mean, stuff that happens all the time everywhere anyway, but that capacity, because of the capacity of the crowd, the number of people, that I think that's what puts it over the top as far. I mean, you're right. You don't want to keep people from congregating, but that this is like the most extreme. What other event
Right.
has that many people at one time? I mean,
the only thing closest would be an NBA or Major League Baseball celebration
yeah, same thing.
In a small market. I mean, that's it.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but yeah, and Kansas City's not even a big market. I mean,
No, that's what I mean. Another small market. Those are
oh,
the ones that celebrate the most usually. You
oh,
know what I
oh,
mean? Like you
yeah.
get into New York and LA and stuff like that. Like how, I mean, those
They're
people
gonna, yeah, they're gonna riot after the game,
exactly.
and then there's crime all day long the next day anyway.
Yeah.
Like it'd be
It's
like
just
in New
that's a
York.
normal day in Chicago.
Right. Right, right. Oh man. Okay. Um, I think we covered that. It's really unfortunate. Hopefully they have, from what I heard, they had three people in custody. The adult was interrogated and let go, and they determined that person was not involved. So there are still two minors in custody, and they're investigating all that. I just read right before we came on here that there's a woman that died that was a mother of two who was a
Oh, is that
DJ,
who died?
who was a
Oh,
DJ.
the DJ. That's right. I heard that. She was a DJ. I did hear that.
Which is hard for me to fathom. A mother of two that's a DJ. I don't know, as her profession. That just kind of
I
is
mean, what do you mean?
fine.
I mean, she could be on the radio, right? You know what I mean? I mean, there
Oh,
you have what 1071. You know, we have all kinds of radio
that
stations in Cincinnati, and those people could easily have kids.
I feel like they would say like radio host or something like that in that case. I feel like she goes to clubs and plays loud music. I feel like that's what she does for a
So,
living
okay,
after her
so
kids go to
in
bed.
in her defense, what about this? What about this?
There's no
I
defense.
remember
I just
I remember when I got married. They have every year there's a wedding extravaganza at the convention center, right? And they've got the dressmakers are there and the caterers and the DJs are there. And a lot of them are grown men or grown women with families and stuff. That's just what they've done since they were younger and they're in their 50s and they're still DJing.
That's true. I know a guy that was that I probably still does it. He was a manager at Skyline for a while, and he was like a really nice buttoned up guy, and he used to DJ at Patrick's, like, or he did a karaoke at
Yeah,
Patrick's like once a
karaoke.
week
Yeah,
or
most
whatever.
of those DJs, that's another way they make some money is by doing karaoke and stuff. Yeah.
That's true. I think when I read it, I just thought of the stereotype of a DJ and also a mother of two. Yeah, just like a like a totally different person after she leaves the house to go DJ. I don't know.
Like Shaq when he changes into DJ Shaq.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, all right. All right. So unfortunate that that happened, and we'll see what happens. We'll see if they make any changes, if
Thoughts and
when the
prayers out to all those families and everything like that. You know, all the stuff you're supposed to say and need to
of course.
say and should say and really mean. But in the end, screw these people that made this happen because it's going to change something.
You think a change will happen?
Something's going to happen. I'm not necessarily saying that we're going to stop having parades,
Right.
but I'll tell you that things are going to be different. Things are going to be a lot different.
Okay. All right. Well, what else do we have? Um, right before we came on here, right before we started recording, this is just going to be a quick thing because this is for me. Caitlin Clark became the all-time scoring champ in NCAA women's basketball history, passing Kelsey Plum. Um, and the shot that she made, she had 23 in the first quarter, by the way, and she accounted for all like 38 of their points in the first quarter because the points they scored that she did not score herself, she assisted on those
Yeah.
points. So and she's the all-time scoring champ in NCAA women's basketball. My favorite part of her game is her passing. And she's like, I want to say third or fourth maybe on the
Yeah,
uh the assist
she's going to
record.
end up in the top five in both. She already is. She's already in the top five in both assists and points.
She did it in 13 less games than Kelsey Plum, and she still has, the rest of this season and whatever happens in the tournament. And then she becomes an Indiana Fever player next year.
So, yeah, she's playing constantly in on prime time TV
Mhm.
right now as a college player. Like she is prime time. Like everyone wants to see her. She's going to go to the Indiana Fever and play on cable TV twice, maybe this
She's
season.
gonna she's gonna play. She's having on the road records, attendance records set on the road everywhere she goes. She's gonna play in front of friends and family next year.
Yes. Yes, it's going to be like high school all over again.
No, they will attract more people when she gets there for sure at Fever
Yeah,
Games.
there's no doubt. There's no doubt. So here's the big thing though. She's like 160 points away from Pistol Pete Maravich's record.
That's crazy because he
She's
averaged
got,
44 a game in college.
he also did it in 3 years.
Uh,
So that's a big difference.
yeah.
But the point is Pistol Pete's 3,667. She's at 3520 or something like that. I think was what the record was, 35. It's 3,500 and something. So she's like 160, 150 away, somewhere in that, some give or take 20 points. She's averaging what, 30 a night,
32.
32 a night. So that's 5 games,
Yep.
6 games. She still has what, 3 games, probably 3 to 5 games left in the regular season. She's got minimum of 1 game in the Big Ten tournament, minimum of 1 game in the NCAA tournament.
She's
This
getting it.
woman, this woman has like a 95.9% chance of being the not just the women's all-time scorer, but the all-time leading scorer in college basketball history. If that doesn't give you cold chills, brother, I don't know what does.
She's a very special player. And it's we're lucky to be able to see it. I can't wait to see what she does on the WNBA level.
So a lot of people were talking about that. You coached high school girls basketball. You've watched you've gone to her game against Ohio State. You've watched her a few times. You're just a basketball junkie. She's obviously unbelievable. You've seen so many people in your life. The thing that keeps coming out in the national media, which is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life, is yeah, but will her game translate into the WNBA?
Yeah. I feel like I don't know why. I don't even know what this probably doesn't even make sense, but I feel like it would translate easier between women's NCAA women's basketball to the WNBA easier than it does for some of the top college players in men's basketball to the NBA. I feel like there's a
Okay,
bigger jump for
it
some
makes
reason.
sense. That makes sense because you're talking about NCAA college basketball to the NBA. It's a different style of game,
Mhm.
right? I don't know the two styles between the college, women's college and WNBA, but you still have a big man on a lot of teams in college basketball. You have the best athletes get drafted after their first year in college basketball. Women's basketball, you can, but most of them stay longer, right? It's more an old school NCAA, a 1990s version of men's college basketball to where the best players in the game got drafted and were good in the NBA. And that's
Yeah.
how it was. And I feel like it's more of a translation that way. So I think that she is not only going to translate just fine, but she's going to immediately be one of the top 5 players in the WNBA.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good chance of that. Um, I know I saw recently a comparison of like some of the best women's college players from the last 10 years or something like that in their first years in the WNBA, and just about all of them made big impacts right away. And it with her skill set, the way that she can shoot from more area on the floor than anybody probably in the WNBA right now can.
Mhm.
Her shooting and I believe that she will be the best passer in the WNBA when she gets there as well. So offensively, defensively, she's not that good. Offensively, she will be probably a top 5 offensive player. Yes, I agree, in the WNBA next year. And there are some great, great offensive players in the WNBA. She's going to be right there with them.
Sabrina uh,
Ionescu.
Ionescu.
Yeah.
Ionescu, did I say that right?
Yeah.
Um, is one of those people that are she's
Without
different,
question.
right? She's just different. And she and Caitlin Clark's going to come in and be that kind of person. We are getting ready to go into the NBA All-Star Weekend. Can I tell you, the three-point competition, we've talked about this before, is already it's the best part of NBA weekend by far.
Easily.
Steph Curry's not in the three-point competition this year. However, he's in his own against Sabrina Ionescu. We talked about this maybe, did we talk about this a couple weeks ago?
I think briefly, yeah.
Can I tell you that this is my favorite part of this whole thing? She last year in the three-point contest, she missed one shot.
Yeah. Yeah. She made like 34 points or something like that.
One shot.
Yeah.
That's insane. Um, so, however, Steph Curry is a very competitive person. Do you think Chef Curry, the chef, is going to put a little extra into this than he normally would for maybe a three-point competition? Or do you think because it's against a woman, he might just go do his thing and, he makes me done, he done. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, Sabrina is going for blood.
Yeah.
She's
She
made it very clear she's out here to win.
I feel like Steph will try to make as many shots as he can. It's not going to bother him because it will be this wonderful, uplifting women's basketball, women's sports moment if she beats him. I think he's all in on that stuff. So
Yes.
so I think he'll try. I think he'll be fine. He's not going to be like this intense competitor because he really, really wants to beat her.
He's not going to
That's
walk
how I
out
think.
there, Larry Bird, and say, who's coming in second today?
Right. He's not keeping his warm up on. He's not putting up his finger before the shot goes in, although he does that stuff all the time. He
Yeah, he might do
turns around. Yeah, he might do that.
that.
He does do
I
that.
caught my son on video. I was watching him today shooting in the front yard because my camera alert comes on my phone all the time. And I caught him shimmying the little Steph Curry shimmy as he made a shot today.
Practicing his cellies.
Yeah.
Nice.
He's all he's got too many of them. He hit a three the other day in a game and was walking down with the three
Oh
with
boy.
a little three below his waist. And I jumped. I'm on the bench, right? I'm an assistant coach, screaming at him to put his hand away. Put your hand away. Put your hand away. The guy at the clock, doing the clock at the game, comes up to me after the game and he goes, "Hey, I just want to let you know, man, you got the fact that you got at that kid who hit that three, that was pretty big, man. That's really cool. Make sure these kids act like they know what they're doing, and not being too big for the game." And I was like, "Yeah, my damn son doing this." He goes, "Oh, it's your kid? Oh, never mind." Oof.
Let the kids play is what I say. Let the kids play. Mean coach.
I'm such a let the kids play kind of guy too. I am. I
And
am. But
I'm not.
when I watch my son make a basket after he gets fouled and flex like this, I get so mad.
Yeah.
The flex that I don't get mad at because he doesn't do it at the other team. But when
Mhm.
you run down the court with your little three and you're putting I hate that. Hate that.
I don't like that stuff, you know that. But it's so, I see guys doing that in high school, college, and pro, and so many people do it, and you see guys do it on teams with coaches that you would think would not stand for that, and they don't even pay any attention to it. So I wonder how much of everybody's starting to adapt more to it. And it's like, you know what? if that's the worst they do, as long as they're not taunting people specific, which to me, a lot of it still is. But if you are not looking at a guy and making gestures at them and stuff like that,
Looking at the other team and putting a three, like, don't look at
right,
the other team's bench and put a three up.
right.
I'm gonna pull your ass out of the game.
Oh yeah,
You run down the court and you just have a three down by your knee.
it's
It
a tough.
pisses me off still,
I know
especially because it's my kid.
it's a tough line too with youth sports too. Like you want them to have fun, and of course they're gonna. That's why it bothers me in professional sports and everything too, because they do that because that's what they see those guys do, and it's I don't know, like they are having fun. It's like for some I don't know why, but for some reason it's more enjoyable for them to do celebrations when they make shots and stuff. I still don't get it myself, but if that's I mean, if that's gonna like draw more kids to play and get them to enjoy it more, I don't want to say that I'm moving toward like being fine with that, but also I'm kind of like noticing that there are coaches that aren't caring about that. And
I'm
no,
listening.
put
I
an
feel like
end
it's
to it.
coming. It's
Get it
coming.
out of here.
It's coming.
There's no
Keep
place for that
going.
in sports. Sports aren't fun. It's for winning.
I was waiting for it. I was waiting for it. It was coming. You almost were okay with it. You were almost okay with it. Listen, here's the thing. I'm in this middle road.
Mhm.
I don't know what to do with it. I don't want you to dunk on somebody or back them down and jump over and shoot a jumper over them when you're 6'10" and they're 6'2", and you go down on the ground and talk about how small they are. I don't want you doing that. You're 8 inches taller than them and have a 12-inch bigger wingspan. If you can't back them down and jump over them, then you are a terrible player, right? Like that's how I don't want you doing that. Don't do that. Now, you hit a three and it's a big three and you want to get a little excited. Part of me is like, I get it. It's okay to show emotion the right way. I know the right way is a key, and that's a line. That is a real crisp line that can be like it's towed so often.
The
But like in baseball,
the line
I'm
is
okay with it.
jagged all over the
It
place
is
because
jagged.
the right way is different for everybody.
Look, I'm a baseball guy, and I'm okay with a bat flip. Like if I'm gonna hit a bomb, I feel bad. Like if my kids ever did something like that in a game, I probably would be upset with them, right? Act like you've been here before, that whole deal like that. But we just we do at the end of every indoor practice, we play a game where there's two teams. You put a ball on a tee and you have to hit it. You can't hit it on the ground and you can't hit a pop up, right? There's a line in the back of the indoor place. You got to keep it below it and you got to hit above it and you get a point, right? And I'm always the last person that goes. Whoever's got the odd person team, I hit last and that ball is worth however much it is to win. And when I hit it, I flip the bat in the air and I'm like, let's go. And I'm hooting and hollering. How is that any different? Right? They're looking at me and I'm doing it. It's hard for me to get on somebody for that.
There's also a difference in doing it at an indoor winter practice with just your team there and in a game when you
But
are
is there because you're showing that emotion that I tell everybody, you practice like you play. Y'all want to walk around here and goof off and not toss what you don't toss with a purpose. You don't take ground balls with a purpose. You don't take batting practice with a purpose. You do everything like you would do in a game.
Mhm.
And then I turn around and do that. How is that any different?
Because there's not another team that you are disrespecting in a lot of cases.
I feel like I'm doing the wrong thing sometimes when I do that. I'm excited. And that's where I'm like, you know what? A little emotion is good. It's good to have emotion.
It's
You
yeah,
got to channel it and do it in the right way.
I don't even know that it's always emotion anymore. I think now it's just part of like I'm supposed to, because I've seen this so much, I'm supposed to do this celebration.
Okay, well, if you hit a home run, an absolute
Sure.
bomb, and you're losing 8-1, and you just hit a solo, if you bat flip or do something stupid, I'm going to come out there and I'm going to grab you by your throat and I'm going to throw you on the bench.
Yeah.
But if you just hit a walk-off to win a game, how can you be upset? That's pure emotion.
Well, of course you're not gonna be upset. Yes. You will have emotion. You can also have plenty of emotion and not do we don't I mean, we certainly can't get back into this because we've had 5 podcast episodes where we went off the rails
Five?
with this.
Five?
Well,
We
I'd say
did
one, at least one a year, yeah.
we've done more than that. We're
Probably. But 10.
275 episodes in this thing or whatever we are. We've had at least 15 to 20.
All right. Then whatever you feel is how I feel. All right. Here we go. Moving on. What I think may be the last thing. I mentioned this earlier. So I had COVID last week. I got over it way faster than I expected. Not as fast as you got over your sickness. That's the thing. Dads don't get sick, but when they do, right through it. Breeze right through it, buddy.
Better believe it. 24
Um,
hours, ready to go.
Very good. I was a little
Maybe
more than 24,
maybe 36, maybe 36.
36, but I'm not a dad. I don't have that dad power. So mine took a little bit longer, but um,
Part-time furry dad.
there you go. Not even. Um, the
Depends on who you talk to.
All right.
Sorry, I had too
Two,
much fun. Too much
two,
fun with that.
that's fine. Two things. Worse than the illness is what I have to miss. I missed a few things last week. All right. So number one, I missed the podcast. Number two, I had tickets for Pacers Warriors.
Oh,
I miss getting to see Steph again. I've seen him like 5 times in person, but he's my favorite player in the league. And um not only did I miss that game, he made his first 7 threes in the first quarter. He had like
yeah.
23 in the first
Jesus
quarter or something
Christ.
like that. And he scored, what do you have? He had 62 in that game, I think. Was
Yeah.
that another 62 or a
That
six
was
or
another 60 loss, 60 point
50 something?
loss.
Yeah. So I
The
missed that.
third, the third 60-point loss of the NBA season.
Yeah, in like 2 weeks or whatever. Yeah.
Karl Anthony Towns, Devin Booker, Steph Curry.
Yes, that's right. Um, and so I had to miss that game. That was a big disappointment. And then I missed Elder LaSalle, which nobody else cares about, but that's a pretty big one for me. Uh, yeah, and you know, I couldn't do anything else. Couldn't go anywhere over the weekend or anything like that. Um, so that was that. I missed those things, and then one more thing that happened was so I text my family when I found out I had it, you know, just so they know I'm not going to be around or whatever for a few days. And so the first time I had COVID was in November of 2020. My sister had crumble cookie. If you don't know crumble cookie, they're all over the country. CRUMBL. Check it out on the internet and try it if you can find one near you. They're the most delicious cookies. They're like big gourmet cookies. We have one near me now. We have one on the west side of Cincinnati now. The first time she sent me like a box of these cookies, had it shipped.
Nice.
Yeah, awesome. Oh my gosh, they were so good. She got me tons of them. She had she had some sent to my house this past week. I didn't know that. I'm sitting here working, and I've still worked. I got to work from home, working in the middle of the day. There's a knock at my door. I'm like, number one, I'm working. Number two, I wasn't expecting anybody. I didn't have any packages I was expecting. I'm like, this is a solicitor. This is a Jehovah's Witness. This is somebody just knocking on my door to try to get me to switch, you know, gas and electric companies or whatever. I didn't get up. I'm like, also, I'm not going to open the door. I have COVID right now. I'm not supposed to, you know, they don't
Sure.
know, whoever's
Yeah.
out there doesn't know that. So anyway, I'm like, I'm just gonna let them go away, I guess. So they knocked twice. I'm like, sorry. And then I didn't hear anything. That was like probably late morning. I get finished working about 4 o'clock. I open my front door just to like see the outside world.
Yeah.
There's a box of crumble cookies on my front porch. They have bite marks out of them where the where I think a squirrel got to it. It didn't bite all the way through. The package was sealed and it didn't bite all the way, like it bit
It
into it bit into the box like 3 or 4 times, but didn't like tear open the box. It didn't get to the cookies. But it was an animal that bit into the box. So I'm not taking that shot. I'm not taking that chance. And
wow.
to throw away the cookies
Oh no.
because they were out there all day long and something got to the box. Yeah,
Dude, that kills me.
I know. Me too.
Oh,
That was tough.
so many delicious cookies.
Oh gosh. Yeah. So that was an interesting thing that happened because of COVID. But anyway, that was it. Like I said, really missing that game was probably the worst part of having COVID. Missing that Warriors Pacers game.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, that was it. That's my whole COVID story. And
I can't believe that you threw away cookies.
I know, I know. I
You
thought
know
for a
I'd ate
second,
them still. You know I'm eating them still.
I know you would have.
A
I know.
1000%.
I just can't take a chance on any rabies, on any sort of rodent AIDS or any
What what squirrel has AIDS?
there's feline AIDS. Why couldn't there be rodent AIDS? Right? Maybe it was a cat. Could have been. There are
I
cats that roam around my neighborhood. Could have been a
had this
cat with
thought
feline AIDS.
I had this thought earlier today. The TV's on and there's a HIV keep you from getting HIV, not keep you from getting, but if you got it,
Mhm.
keep you from spreading it, maybe. I don't know. So how did this could go down a whole crazy path?
There's like almost a cure for it now. I mean, it's like
No, I get
it's
that.
not a
My,
death
my
sentence anymore.
my point is with STDs in general,
Mhm.
the world's been around forever. How did they just start? What? How does that happen?
I feel like they've probably been around a long time.
That's fine, but like that's a natural thing that people have been doing to make procreate and everything forever.
Yeah.
I don't understand how all of a sudden these things come around. How do you get the clap? Like
Yeah, I guess
where,
there are new ones that come up once in a while, I guess, right?
I don't I guess I don't know like the
Yeah.
HPV stuff. Like apparently if you're a young woman, you got to get a shot for that. I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't
because
know,
that
but
can cause cervical cancer, I think.
it's just I'm just telling you, none of it makes any sense. I can't understand where it came from.
Oh yeah, from somebody doing that stuff with trying to procreate with monkeys and stuff
You
and
think that's
bats and
how it
stuff,
happened?
probably.
Like you get it from a rat?
Yeah, yeah,
Who's trying?
probably.
Well, you got a little fella if you're trying to get in a rat.
I don't know about rats. I don't know about rats, but monkeys, any human-sized animal, I
So
think,
why do animals have these things?
because they can't
These
shower
diseases?
or use
Sure.
contraceptives.
How does showering have anything to do with it?
I don't know. They're dirty. I don't know.
Neither do I. Nobody. I don't know either. I don't know either.
Just just the general concept of them not having any
I mean,
capability to
back in
keep
the
that stuff away.
yeah, but back in the Stone Age, they they weren't showering and they were getting after it.
That's probably when it started. That's when they were doing the stuff with monkeys, you know? Maybe even
Oh boy, I'm
dinosaurs. Maybe
so confused.
dinosaurs started it.
Yeah. Anyway,
You know, a
anyway.
triceratops got together with a brontosaurus and something happened and like it spiked spiked it in the area and it got a little something going there and there was some the 1990 Reds pitchers is our Mount Rushmore this week. And I'll tell you who didn't have any feline aids is Jose Rijo. Chris, what do you got for your 1990 thing?
All right, bud. So I chose the Mount Rushmore of the 1990 wire to wire Reds, Cincinnati Reds pitchers. You got to pick four. First off, not as easy as I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Right off the bat, you got the nasty boys, right? I mean,
Yep.
you've got Norm Charlton, you've got Randy Myers, you got Rob Dibble. You have an unbelievable top three starting pitchers in Tom Browning, Jose Rijo, and Jack Armstrong, who was great that year. Um, you also had guys like, hello, Tim Leana. I mean, unbelievable reliever. Chris Hammond was on that 1990 team for a short period. Uh, so let's go into this and really think who we got. You got to go Jose Rijo. Okay.
Yeah.
And Rob Dibble was my guy. Like I had the huge leg kick. I didn't pitch a lot, but when I did, I brought that glove all the way over my head and I brought that leg kick all the way up in the air. Like I went big time with it. So I'm gonna go two with Rob Dibble. Danny Jackson was on that team.
Yeah.
Scott Scudder was on that team. Ron Robinson for a short period of time was on that team. I mean, you're talking about what did they call him? The Lurch or the
Wasn't he a
Frankenstein?
freak or something like
The
that? Or the
Freak? Yeah, Ron
yeah.
Robinson was one ugly son of a gun. He was in our very, very early on Twitter polls of ugliest baseball players.
Mhm.
He made it, I believe, past the second round. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with the late great Tom Browning as number three,
Yep.
and I'm gonna kill it. I'm gonna kill it. God, this is so hard for me. So hard because you got Danny Jackson, you've got Jack Armstrong, who I love Jack Armstrong back then, but it really comes down to the other two nasty boys. I got to take one of the other two nasty boys. And if I got to choose, as weird as it sounds, Norm Charlton was my guy. Randy Myers was the best nasty boy. He was
Yes.
the best.
Totally agree.
But I loved Norm Charlton. When my sister was little and she was learning how to speak, the name I would try to help her, try to tell her to say was Norm Charlton because I felt like it was long and difficult and I loved him.
That is way too hard for a kid trying to learn how to
I
speak.
know. She was born in 1990.
That should automatically make you be able to say Norm Charlton, I believe.
I feel like you should come out of the womb saying
Yeah.
wound or womb. It's
Womb.
womb.
Womb
Yeah,
with a
wound is a
capital B at
sore.
the end.
Is a sore.
That's right. That's right.
Womb.
That's what you get, from feline aids and stuff.
I hope I never get feline AIDS. I mean, I'm not a big feline. I hate felines in general.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, me too. Me too. Okay. So you got
can't believe I
Reno.
just left. I just left Randy Myers off, but that's okay. That's what I did. I'm going
That's
Tom
tough.
Browning just off, just because of love for the man.
Here's the thing, and I'll use that to transition right into mine. Tom Browning led that team in innings pitched. He was the only one over 200 innings. He was 222 innings. He had let's see, 35. He started 35 games. He led them in starts. All right, I've got the whole chart here, so I'm gonna be looking away from the camera here, but Tom Browning led them in innings. led them in starts and wins. He had 15 wins that year. That led the team. And he was Mr. Perfect. I mean, 2 years before that, he pitched his perfect game, and he was still at the top of his game. He pitched 227 innings, a 3.80 ERA over the course of 227 innings is fantastic. He's definitely on mine. Jose Rijo, easily on mine. My favorite pitcher from that. The
I mean,
MVP
he
of the
was the
1990
MVP of the
World
World
Series.
Series.
Thank you. Number 2 in innings, number 2 in wins, 29 starts, a 2.70 ERA for that year.
That's
Is
good.
that
That's
crazy?
good.
That's real good. Led him in strikeouts, I believe. Where are they? Yep, 152 strikeouts. I mean, led by a lot in that department. Jose Rijo is so good. Senor Smoke is what I remember from Wire to Wire. Is what they said his name was.
Yep.
Browning and Rijo. I'm going I'm going Randy Myers. He was my favorite nasty boy. I'm putting Randy Myers on it. He was the closer. I mean, it feels like a
He
lot of people
was.
think Dibble was the closer, and
No, no, no.
he closed some games, but Randy Myers was the closer.
No, it was Charlton, Dibble, Myers. That was the way it went. It went 6, 7, 8, right down, or 7, 8, 9, right down the line.
Yep.
And Norm Charlton actually started. I couldn't tell you. You've got the stats there. He started like 15 games that year, didn't he?
He pitched in 56 games, 16 starts.
Look at that. I don't even have the
16
numbers in
starts.
front of me. I was off by one.
Yep. Yep. That was good. Yeah, 16 starts. He threw 154 innings total, Norm Charlton did, which was fourth on the team. 274 was his ERA that year. Let's see, the Nasty Boys? Charlton was 274. Dibble was 174 for the year, and Randy Myers was 208. Those three guys are so stupid. It's so, oh my God.
There's a reason they were called the Nasty Boys.
Oh God, they got everybody out. And sometimes Rob Dibble would sacrifice outs to let his aggression out.
Yeah.
He would just throw the ball at you while you're running down first base.
Or
Um,
just throw the ball towards home as hard as he possibly could. And if
yeah.
that meant that he hit you, oh well.
Or into the stands and hit a teacher
Hit a
and
teacher.
bloody the
Yep.
teacher's face.
Hit a teacher. And you had to have a lot of crazy. So you hear about like you're the Nasty Boys, right? And you got to be a little crazy to be a reliever, and you hear all that stuff all the time. Randy Myers was the goofiest son of a gun you'll ever meet in your entire life.
Yeah.
However, I don't think he was the craziest of the three of them. I think he might have actually been the least crazy. Norm
Yeah.
Charlton ran over a man as a runner in his pitching jacket.
Yeah.
Rob Dibble hit a woman, a teacher, with a baseball that he threw into the stands, and all Randy Myers did was dress up weird.
Yeah. Yeah. He would wear like rainbow socks and a camouflage cut off t-shirt or something before the games.
Rob Dibble's trying to beat up Lou Piniella.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. Um, which I'm taking Sweet Lou in that all day long. I mean, I'm
First
taking
off,
Lou.
why is one of your end of bullpen relievers in a fight with your manager?
Let's see. Rob Dibble was 26 that year.
Why is he in a fight with
26
the
years
manager?
old.
I don't understand that. I never
I,
got that. Why did they fight? I get like a position player, an everyday position player having an issue with where he's in the lineup, but why is your setup man getting in a fight? I don't understand it.
because Lou Piniella was fiery too, and he probably was like, "Hey, calm it down a little bit there, buddy." And he's like, "Don't tell me to calm down." I don't know how it started, but
I'm going to tell you right now, neither of either of them were telling each other to calm down. They were both just going at it.
they were just going at it. Yeah, that's true. Yep. Um, I went Rijo, Browning, Randy Myers, number 4 for me. You ready? I'm putting Norm Charlton on there. I love Norm Charlton. Love Norm Charlton.
Norm Charlton was my guy. He went to Seattle and then came back. Then he
Yeah.
came back to Cincinnati.
That the fact that he was so versatile, that he started some games and then he pitched a ton out of the bullpen. And I mean, that's really hard for guys to do. He did that all year long and had that 2.74 ERA.
And had success and was successful in both places.
Yes. Um, yeah, also, just like I love left-handed players in basketball, Randy Myers and Norm Charlton were both left-handed, and I love that about them. I'm sure a big part of why they were also successful. I mean, how many bullpens had two of their best guys as left-handers back then?
Yeah.
Couldn't have been much. Let's see. Something interesting about that staff. Rick Mailer was the oldest pitcher on that staff at 36. The next oldest, 30 years old, Tom Browning.
Wow.
Everybody else on that staff was under 30.
That is young.
It's a very young staff. Yeah, Norm Charlton was 27. Let's see. Danny Jackson was 28. Dibble was 26. Myers was 27.
And they traded Franco because Franco was probably 40. So
Yeah. He was 40 and then played another 15 years after that.
exactly.
Um, yeah, it was, man, I had so much fun just going to Baseball Reference and looking at that staff. Oh my God. Anyway, Riho, Browning, Myers, Charlton for me. We love our trips down memory lane.
Yes, we do. Shout out Tim Layana.
Yeah. And Tim Burtsus. All the Tims.
Bertus was good too. I mean, he was okay.
Let's see. Liano had a 3.49 ERA that year, pitched
That's
80
good.
innings,
That's good.
55 games. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Scott Scudder was only 22 years old.
Yeah, Scott Scudder. I don't think Scott Scudder was in the World Series. I don't think he was on the I think he might have came up in the middle of the year, but I don't think he was on the playoff roster.
He is in I'm pretty positive he is in some of the celebration photos with his jacket on that says Scudder. I don't know if can you be not on the roster and in the dugout?
No, if he was on the roster, he was in the dugout.
I'm pretty sure I've seen
For some reason, I thought that he wasn't, but then no, I mean,
he
they
could.
increase him, so he could. Yeah, then he maybe he was, because I'm
Yeah,
starting to see that too. That red jacket with the white name on the back. Yeah.
yeah. I remember seeing Liana with his on.
Yep.
Um, yeah, yeah.
But Scudder didn't really start pitching for the Reds until like 92 when he really became a big part of that bullpen.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yep. Yeah, he didn't. I mean, he appeared 21 times that year, but that could have been mostly in the first half. I mean, um, yeah, I don't remember Ron Robinson being on the staff at the end of the year.
Again, just like Franco, right? I don't think either of them
He
were
got
on
traded or
the.
something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Franco got traded. I think both of them did.
I
In
think
the middle of the
Franco
year.
got traded before the year started because he got traded for Randy Myers.
Oh, that's right. No, you're right. He was never on that team.
He went to the Mets, yeah, and Randy Myers came over in that deal from the Mets. Um, yeah, young staff, young staff,
Very young staff.
and Jack Armstrong was like I think he started the All-Star game that year because he had like 10 wins at the All-Star break or something like that. And then his second half was like not very good.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, but he bolstered the beginning. I mean, the reason they were wire to wire, big part of it was off his arm in the first half.
they had a massive lead at the All-Star break and then
Yeah.
had, struggled. They went like 500 in the second half of the year,
Yeah,
I
they
think.
win like 500. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Anyway,
were
okay, we could do
they
that.
weren't supposed to beat Pittsburgh and they were not supposed to beat Oakland. And they swept Oakland. In case you didn't know, and you're out there listening, they were in first place from day one to day end. The only other team I know to do that was one of those 90 or early 2000 Yankees teams.
Uh, yeah. Yep.
I mean, you literally can't come in second for a single second for a single game. Like they were in first place from day. They win seven straight or seven? Was it seven
Nine.
straight? Was it nine
Nine.
straight? Nine
Mhm.
straight to win to start the year?
9 consecutive victories to begin a baseball season. That was one of the calls.
Listen to you, Marty.
It was I think Larkin caught a pop up on the infield to end the ninth straight win, I'm pretty sure. It was that or Hatcher in center or something like that.
I just showed
Anyway.
a couple. I was walking, so I was sitting at baseball on Tuesday, and I took one of the kids to practice, besides my son, and we were in there talking to somebody about how one of the guys sold 100 squares, right? Our Super Bowl squares for our organization, we sold 9 sheets, 900 people. I'm only telling you that because I was in charge of it, and it's been the biggest pain in my butt ever in the entire world. It was like a second full-time job. Uh, but Barry Larkin bought 5 from somebody. And I was talking to a parent about how Barry Larkin was on there. You were on the same sheet as Barry Larkin. Barry Larkin won. He won. He had 0-0. And I'm walking out and I was talking to a parent about it. And the little kid goes, who's Barry Larkin? And I went, what'd you just say? He said, I don't really watch baseball very much. Does he play? Who's he play for? And I said, get in my truck and shut your mouth. And I looked at him just like that. And he's younger. He's the youngest kid on the team. And he didn't know how to take it. I was kidding, obviously. I get in the truck, I go onto YouTube, and I look up Barry Larkin highlights. And I look at him and I go, don't say a word and sit back there for the next 12 minutes. And he just sat there and watched my phone. And I was like, now, I will never say anything to your dad about the fact that you don't know who Barry Larkin is, as long as you always remember from here on out who Barry Larkin is.
And that is the best baseball lesson you were going to ever teach that kid.
Damn right.
Oh man. I mean, we could have a separate not a separate episode, a separate podcast about the 90 Reds if we really wanted to.
That might be one. We might do that coming up. I mean, spring training's coming up. Why not? That's a pretty good podcast idea.
I'm in.
I could do a I mean, we've already talked about it for like 25 minutes. So
I know. I know. People
all
have
right,
turned
well,
this
we
off.
gotta yeah. What'd you
I,
say?
I said people have turned this off, but I really don't want people to. I want people to know about Sam Tallent.
You do.
I do.
Okay. Then you go first.
Sam Tallent was my choice for comedian last week, and he had a special on YouTube that was called
The
where'd it go?
Toad's
The
morale.
Toad's Morale. The Toad's How could I forget that? The
I
Toad's
don't know.
Morale. Uh watch the special so you can understand what he's talking about.
Filmed in Cincinnati.
Go Bananas Comedy Club, which I'm gonna be there in 3 weeks for Dan Soder.
Nice.
I've been once, one other time. Have you ever been there?
I've never been to the one in Westchester. Back at the old Go Bananas at in Newport, I was there multiple times.
That's the Funny Bone. Go
Oh,
Bananas is on Montgomery Road in Blue
oh.
Ash or
If
whatever.
that's the case, I've never been to
Never
Go
been.
Bananas. I've only been to the Funny Bone. You're right. I was at the Funny Bone multiple times in I watched one of my least favorite shows. Not least favorite. It was actually a really good show, but afterwards sucks because you got to do a meet and greet. Pauly Shore could care less about anybody that had testosterone in their body. He only wanted to talk to the women that were there to see what he was doing later that night and could care less at the fact that I wanted to say hello.
Yeah.
He
You
did
know what?
sign 2 shirts. He did sign a couple shirts. I got a Biodome shirt and can't remember the other one.
Oh, was he selling them there?
Yeah,
And
and
you bought
signing
one
them.
and he signed
Yeah,
it.
I bought one and he signed it.
When I was very young, that was probably many years ago, right?
Me and Aaron were married. Me and Aaron went.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So within the last, jeez, oh Pete's. So yeah, could have been many years ago
Many,
because
many
we've been
years
married
ago still.
15 years now.
Man. Um, yeah, I was into the meet and greet. I was into the meet and greet and I was into the buying the CD back in the day and getting it signed and stuff. Did that with Pablo Francisco. That was one of the first shows I went to. Um, Bought a CD and signed it, and he talked to me and my dad for a minute. I was probably 18, 19 or something. I was way more into it then. I've been to so many comedy shows now, and I feel like if I'm the comedian, I don't want to do that after the show. So I never go through. For a long time now, I've not gone through
That's
the line.
that's a big part of how they make extra money.
Yeah, like I mean, I don't. Yeah, but just not necessarily buying merch, just going through to say hello.
Yeah,
You know,
but
to
here's
meet
the deal.
people.
I'm talking about this is when I went to meet Pauly Shore. It was pre every single comedian had a podcast. Podcast wasn't
Yeah,
a thing back then, right? So like that was a big way for them. I'm not gonna tell you, I don't think that they hated it. I think they understood that was a big part to keep their name out and to get introduced to the fans and make sure people liked them and listened to them and continued to come back personally.
all right.
Now, Pauly Shore, on the other hand, had done many movies and he was already washed up and trying to come back, right? And I think he thought that his mom was going to die years before that, and he was going to take over. What is it, the Comedy Cellar
Comedy
or
store.
yeah, the Comedy Store? That's what it was, the Comedy Store. Yeah, and he would just like take it over or something, and it never happened. She was still alive. He even joked about that. That was part of his during that about how his mom's still alive, and he'll never be as cool as his mom, and all that was a big part of his comedy that night.
Yeah. um, yes. It's been a long time since I've done a meet and greet. Now, I've seen a few of like the the
That
middles or
was that
the openers and stuff like that
yeah,
after
but that
shows, just like walking through. And I sometimes I feel like I want to say something to those guys, like, "Hey, you were really good." Like, especially people I don't know or whatever. And then I see them and I'm like, "Wow, that guy was great."
I think it's okay to do that.
It is okay to do that. I still buckle under the pressure and I don't say anything because I
Oh,
feel like they would appreciate the
yeah,
hey, thanks.
100%.
They
Yeah.
probably still get it all the time, but
Especially the guys that just walk by and go, "Hey, bro, you killed it," and just keep walking. Like that's as cool as it gets for those guys, right? Like I'm not trying to be a groupie or nothing like that, but
right.
just a regular Joe saying, "Hey, dude, you did good."
Good job. Yep. You're right. You're right. Maybe I'm gonna remember that next time. Matter of fact, I already know who Dan Soder brings as his opener on the road, and I've seen him before, and he's really funny. I like him, so um, maybe if I see him after the show, I'll say something. Sam Tallent, another New York comedian. Uh, he starts with a six. We go to five Haas. He starts with a six because he filmed this in Cincinnati. Um, so then I subtract every bad thing after
Okay, let's see how
that.
this goes.
No. I mean, I wrote down a few things, but honestly, this was a couple weeks ago so I don't remember all of it now, but uh I know that I really, really liked this. I laughed a lot. Uh, he called biological women analog women. I thought that was funny. Um, the bed and breakfast stuff.
That
Uh,
was good. That was good. That was good.
for whatever reason, I've said this a few times on this thing. I like a comedian who stands in front of the microphone stand and keeps the mic in the stand and stands
Yeah.
there and tells jokes
I
in
also
front
don't
of a
think
microphone
I also
stand.
don't feel like he could move very well anyway.
Maybe not. He could have taken the mic out of the microphone stand and paced one step either way. He didn't do that. But I like somebody, especially if they're funny, that
Okay.
stands there and he's like, my
Yep.
words are the only thing that are going to matter here.
Yep. Yep. 100%. We talk about that all the time. Jerry Seinfeld-esque. Or
Yep. Tom
what's the
Papa
guy
does
with,
it.
yeah, Tom Papa. That's what I was just gonna say. The guy with Fortune Feimster on Netflix Radio. Tom
Yeah.
Papa. Yeah. Tom
Yeah.
Papa's big. Yeah.
Um, woman scientist. What's next? A dog wearing sunglasses? I mean, that's for some reason that got me pretty good. Um, the closer he hits me with the tombstone. That was funny. His last joke that I can't say any more about because it's too gross for this podcast. I really like this, and I liked it so much. And this is the little bit that we've conversated about this so far. I think that we're going to be super far apart on this. I gave it a 4.5.
What? Oh, are you kidding me?
No, I really thought he was really funny.
Okay. Okay. I will say this. I believe that he's funny. This is a funny person. Like, I bet on podcasts, this dude kills it. I think he's extremely funny. I love over the top jokes. Love them. I love jokes that toe the line. I love all that stuff. I love actually, I don't really like the ones that toe the line. I like jokes that step over the line, right? Those I love that. I don't feel like his delivery was on point.
Hmm.
I don't feel like his timing was great. He maybe I think on like 3 out of 15 of his jokes, he had good timing or good delivery. Like the one was really good. I can't remember what the joke was, but he's telling the joke and then he goes, "No, no, yeah, I was in charge the whole time. I was in charge the whole time." I also don't like that as much as like he hit you with it. Like his punchline worked because he had you going and it wasn't that great and it felt like the joke bombed, but then he had his little comment after, and it was like, oh, that's where he was going with it. He got me, but then he's gonna tell me that he got me.
Mm.
I hate that. I that annoyed the hell out of me. You got me. You got me. Move on to the next one, bro. You got me. You don't got to tell me you got me. Like you're in charge. What? Like I don't think his timing was good on most of his stuff. I don't think. Yes, I love the over the topness. I love crazy, weird, like stuff that no one else is going to think of. This guy's jokes, no one else is thinking of. I can promise you that. He's the only one coming up with this material, 100%. And I love that. I just feel like he was off, like it was off. You know, you know what he looked like and kind of reminded me of?
The
I'm
toad
going
he
to
was
tell you this
talking
before.
about.
No, no. That was a good joke too. That was good. That was good. But kill it, right? Like you bring it back once. When you bring it back 4 times, you've killed it. That joke is dead now. You have now killed that joke, buried it, dug it back up. Like talk about it, bring it back around, got it, right? And if it's an early joke, bring it around in the middle, bring it around again at the end. Cool. 4 times in the span of 25 minutes. I don't know. But tell me that he didn't, for like a period of time, look a little bit like a young Uncle Brad.
Yes. You know what? I remember thinking he looks like an Ellis
Yes. Yes.
when I was watching that. I totally forgot
Yes.
that, but you're right. I
Yes.
thought that.
Yes. He did. He did.
He
I
looks
thought so.
like he kind of looks like one of his brothers,
Hmm.
his oldest brother. Man.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, that's one of the things I thought of.
Good
Adam,
call.
you couldn't have been more right. Uh-oh. Did I lose you? Can you see me?
I can see you. I can hear you.
Okay. I did something. Oh, there you are. Uh, you couldn't be more right. We're far off on this.
Okay.
4.5. I was a 2.8.
2.8. Got it.
I like the the camera work was horrible,
Yeah, that was bad.
horrible. There's a lot of editing that's done inside of this. A lot. This is a 45-minute special. I bet he was on stage for an hour and 20 minutes.
Oh
Now,
yeah, probably.
we got to see 5 minutes of this ridiculous person that was being crazy. Did you watch till the very end?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they obviously had an issue with somebody during the show, and that is what it is. I don't know why they put that in there, but throughout the show, I could see editing two or three times. That was weird. And then they killed it. The tombstone, boom.
That was there were weird edits. Weird edits. Yeah.
And maybe that's part of the reason I didn't like it, but I'm not going to say I didn't like it. I give it a 2.8. 2.8. That's not terrible. It's not terrible. 3 is middle of the road. It's just below middle of the road for me.
Okay.
I just, oh, like 4. There's no way I'm giving that a 4. It's just never going to happen. I think this guy's got potential because he's super funny, but his delivery was, to me, wasn't there. I
Hmm.
need better delivery. I feel like he was uncomfortable for a lot of the show. He was very uncomfortable. I felt he would tell a joke and it didn't feel like, if it was not like, if it wasn't how he wanted it, you could kind of feel him sweating really bad and like getting a little nervous. You got to be able to flow through that. Flow through it. Flow through it. And there was no flow. No flow for me.
Okay. All right. This is we might have been pretty far off on something else not too long ago, but for the most part, we've been really close for a long
Might
time.
as well be Jim Gaffigan.
Might well be Jim Gaffigan. Yeah. Yep. You're right. Good call. um, yeah, that's all right. That's totally okay. You didn't love it. I loved it. Could be the opposite way next week, or we could be right on back on track
It's
on the
not.
same wavelength.
It's not going to be opposite next week because I'm in charge, and this is somebody we've done at least twice, maybe 3 times. Um, we are going to go back to Netflix because that's the way that I go, because you do way more looking into this stuff with podcasts and YouTube and stuff like that. So I'm going to go back to Netflix, and we are going to go with our girl. I believe this is her third, could be her fourth. Do you have an idea?
There's a name in my head, but I don't think I keep thinking Wanda Sykes, but I don't.
No, 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 no. Way better.
Hmm.
Taylor Tomlinson, have it all.
Yeah.
Love Taylor Tomlinson. I feel like it's been 2 or 3 specials that she's had on Netflix, and I feel like we
It's
have
two.
both liked both of them.
Yes, absolutely. Love Taylor Tomlinson. She is the host of a show after the after Stephen Colbert at night on
Really?
whatever CBS. She's hosting a show called After Midnight, which is a like a re kind of like a redo of the show At Midnight, which was on Comedy Central years
Yep.
ago. Chris
Yep.
Hardwick hosted it. And I've been recording them and watching them. Um, I love
That's
the
cool.
format. It's just comedian. They're having like actors and stuff on sometimes, so those aren't always perfect. But a lot of comedians though, and it's like a game show, but it doesn't matter. Nothing matter. Like she just gives points to whoever, whenever she wants to, and stuff.
Drew
And
Carey.
oh yeah, whose line is it anyway?
Whose line is it anyway? He would
Yeah, yeah.
always say, I'll give you guys points, but none of the points matter.
It's very similar to that, except it's not improv. It's like they're standing at podiums and they have like a thing, like they'll show a video from the internet and a person buzzes in and they get to comment on it and they always say something really funny and she gives them points and that's it.
I love
Um,
it.
and anyway, she's pretty funny on that, but her stand up is excellent and I cannot wait for this.
So you know Mikey Day on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
So he hosts a show called Is It Cake on Netflix, which I don't know if you've ever seen it or not. These people are the most amazing bakers I've ever seen in my life.
I've seen some clips and stuff. Yeah.
Unbelievable what they can do with cake and fondant and chocolate and all kinds of stuff. Anyway, the she was one of the judges on the season finale, which is
Okay.
pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh my God, it's Taylor Tomlinson. And I'm with my three kids that are 10 and 2 or 7 and my wife. And they're all like, who? And I was like,
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
mind. Never mind.
You'll get to enjoy her comedy later, a few years down the road.
Well, she was super funny on the show. She was really good. Like they don't
Nice.
say a lot. The judges don't say a lot, but when they do talk, it's super funny.
Good. What was this called again?
Is it cake?
No, no, her special.
Oh, it's called Have It All.
Have it all. Have it all. All right. Good. Good choice. Now, for me, Mount Rushmore next week in celebration of so the two greatest words in sports, Chris, are
Game 7.
thank you. The three best words in sports are pitchers and catchers,
Yes.
or pitchers and catchers report if you want to do four, something like that. I want to do the Mount Rushmore of days on the baseball calendar. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yes.
Like
So,
pitchers and catchers report, opening
yep.
day, World Series,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Days
Game
on the
one.
baseball calendar.
So, okay. Do I need the act? I don't, so you're not dates. We're not talking dates. We're
No,
talking words, right? Like, so one of the words is pitchers and catchers report, right? That's a day on the calendar.
the event, whatever it is. Yeah,
Okay. Well, we're both from Cincinnati, so opening day is like a given.
could be.
Okay. Days on the Major League Baseball calendar.
I'm gonna try to get creative. I mean, we will probably end up with the same ones, but I
I
don't know.
like
I
May the
want to.
4th be with you.
Yeah, I hate that one. Hate
Me
it.
too.
But
It's my
anyway,
least favorite, but it's my best friend's dad's favorite.
okay. All right. Um, all right. I'm gonna make fun of him next time I see him.
Yes,
Um,
100%. Next time you see Greg Little,
yep.
totally make fun of him.
He'll dish it out. He's got to take it now.
Yes, 100%.
All right, good. Yes, stuff like that. You got Jackie Robinson Day, you got Lou Gehrig's Day, um, stuff like that. But of course, and then you have your All-Star game, you have your home run derby stuff, you got your World Series, all that kind of stuff. We don't have to do it now, but days on the baseball calendar. Maybe it's the first
Okay.
day of the playoffs. Maybe
Okay.
it's, whatever.
I like it. I like it. I like
Absolutely.
it. I like it. All right. I'm ready.
We're going to be getting excited about baseball season coming up here.
I'm already excited. First
Uh,
off,
you
the
stink.
I just started gambling on the apps, right?
Yeah.
And apparently they got this thing called Dinger Tuesdays
Hmm.
where you can bet on somebody to hit a home run and however many home runs are hit in that game, you get free bets. So
Okay.
like, I mean, I'm betting once a week.
Very good. Very good. Excuse me. Um, Man, they are coming up with with all these bet. What are they called? Are those prop bets? What is a prop
Yes. Yes.
bet? I mean, they're getting creative with those things.
Yeah. You Yeah. Yes. They're very creative. Like I said, you could bet on how not Sabrina, how Caitlin Clark scored her eighth point, whether it was 2 points, 3 points, or a free throw. You could bet on that.
Yeah. Yep. Um, I've only bet on NBA games so far. I'm probably going to put a few things down on some baseball this year.
I have
That's
heard
harder for
from
me.
I've heard from people that are like real betters, like guys that do it all the time, that Major League Baseball is the easiest sport to bet on.
Really?
I've also
Pitching
heard that if,
matchups? Is that what you, I mean,
I guess, yeah, yeah, pretty much. I've also heard that if you bet the under on, so for the last 10 years, if you bet the under on two teams that are in the top five that are playing each other and they're both in the top five of the National League or American League, that the under hits 60% of the time.
okay. It's not good enough for me. It's not good enough odds for me,
Not
but
good enough. Not good enough. Okay. Literally, like this guy's like the dude told me he's like, I bet every single day, and I if it's a game like that, I bet the under. He goes, some days I'll lose four of them. I'll lose four, and some days I'll win four, right, or win six, but I'll bet every single one of them.
Hmm. Yes, if you're coming out 60% of the time, then you're gonna end up on top.
Not by much, but you will.
Yeah.
You really can't probably bet until you're like 2 weeks in the season on that because you really don't know who they are yet.
Yeah, it's true. Okay. Um, yeah, I'm gonna be, betting the over on exit velocity on Ellie De La Cruz's second at bat of the game or something like that.
Love it. I was, oh, that is so awesome. I love that so much. Bet exit velocity. Don't bet on launch angle. I'm
Nah,
still not a launch angle guy.
nah.
I think launch angle is important, but I'm not big on teaching launch angle.
If your exit velocity is way up there, then yeah, launch angle is gonna be important, I guess, if you want to hit it out of the park.
Yeah. I yeah, but if you over teach launch angle,
Yeah.
then
You're
you're
popping up
you're
more often.
you're ruining a swing for someone. You want
Like,
to teach exit velocity more than you want to teach launch angle
mhm.
because your natural swing will create launch angle. Anyway, that's never mind. That's besides the point.
Just hit the ball
You
hard.
want to do another? Do you want to do it? We should do a podcast on like sabermetric stuff for basketball compared to baseball.
Yeah.
You do the basketball stuff, I'll do the baseball stuff, and we'll just talk about stuff that seems silly
Mhm.
and stuff that actually makes sense. And then the stuff that's in between, because there's a lot of in between stuff.
Yeah, we can talk box plus minus. We can talk
I don't know what any of that
all kinds
means.
of stuff. Yeah.
I was listening to Ryan Russillo the other day.
Oh, he's
That
amazing.
dude, that dude talks some like offensive efficiency plus or minus times points scored per possession. And I'm like, what? What? What
Mhm.
did you just say? And that's like OBP plus SL2. What is
Yeah.
all that in baseball? I don't even know what all that is.
Feel like there are new ones every year.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway,
Well, we've got a show for next week, I think.
I think we did two shows today.
We pretty much did two shows today. We've got three podcasts that are going to be starting up pretty soon, apparently. Um, yeah, so we'll give you more information on those as we develop those. On our and I guess we might as well open our own start our own podcast network if we're going to have multiple podcasts on it. So,
If we're gonna do it, we might as well do it right.
mhm. Nosebleeds Podcast Network.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like we can make this happen. If we wanted to, we can make it happen. I just feel like, we both have full-time jobs and
Yeah, we both have kids. We're both married. We both have a lot of stuff going. It's
could
just
you imagine if podcasts came out when we were in our 20s? We'd be billionaires.
would we?
No.
We have not made one change to this podcast in 5, 6 years or whatever.
Yes, we have.
Yeah,
Look, we had swipe right, swipe left. We've nixed it.
yeah,
We've had get off my lawn. We've had lots of add-ons and subtractions. We've had lots of stuff like that.
yeah, we
We
have.
changed where we sit in the pot in the studio.
Yeah, couple times. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. We've had some,
yep,
we used to have t-shirts on the
that's right.
to dumb the sound down. Not anymore.
We had an intro song. No more.
Not anymore. Lost that. Lost that.
But the thing is, we're fine with it. That's what I think.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
if it stays the same, if it gets worse, if it gets better,
It is what it is.
yeah, we're still gonna show up. Still gonna show up on Wednesdays.
I'll tell you this. I was watching a Theo Von podcast with Shane Gillis.
Mhm.
And I was like, you know what? These two are two of the funniest people I know. This has got to be good. And it started off, and I'm like, are these dudes going to talk about anything? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
What is, and makes me feel like anybody can do this. But if you're a little bit famous, makes it a little bit better for you.
Yeah. Yep. If you start out with a, by the way, Shane Gillis is gonna host SNL
Really?
next week or the week after, I think.
Nice. That'll be a good one.
Yeah, which is a big story because he got fired from SNL like a week after he got hired or whatever.
Yeah.
So they're bringing him back to host.
I love that stuff. There was somebody else that just did that not that long ago. Or maybe that's the story I read. Doesn't matter. Either way, it'll be good. All right. It's time. Adam, we have the Mount Rushmore of what was our Mount Rushmore? God dag on it.
Days on the baseball calendar.
Days on the baseball calendar. We've got Taylor Tomlinson have it all next week, and God knows what else. So until next week, don't forget to turn your headlights on.